In one of Kane's flukes of conscience before his total descent into depravity, the REM states of America, as the dictatorship of California congressman during a Topsky junket with the leader of the dictatorship, it had reminded him of the complex vegetation zones in Israel through which Jesus and the 12 walked on the way to Jerusalem on a cross. Moving sidewalks carried parties from portal to portal. Non-permanent facades and streets had quasi-crystal replica brick holograms of 17th century Europe. Canals flowed under clear synth carbon glass on which revelers strolled. Posey and Hindenburg left CID headquarters in the Leonardo Zwingli building east side of Novo Lundinium, fronting the Post-Pecos River, along the United Corporate Interplant Tax building that exceptionally resembled a stealth monolith as inscrutable as the Sphinx. They caught the 15th Street maglev tube on a circling line to breakaway transfer at the fork in Balmeria box at 3,000 miles an hour direct Topsky. Thursday's night skiing under Vos's intensified electron-auroral lighting emerged. The Sid cops were ordinary decadents in appearance, middle-class servants of the corporate international grid. Hosey was of Bantu pigment earth ancestry with many artificial features such as a blonde hair scalp implant and epicanthic folds. She wore ordinary Mars Femme leisure clothes, 4,000 Muller, Sap Streets, mink underwear, Kevlar silk toga, emerald eye motif with a diamond and a ruby visor with a special love operating system. Her gel boots had artificial intelligence to regulate insulation value and keep her feet at comfort temperature in shocking pink. She wore surgically implanted outwardly shaped charged micro-hyper-explosive reactive body armor that would sever the fist of an assailant if punched in a mined area. Her mouth harbored a false tongue packet of biological designer death that she was immunized against that could be broken open and drooled upon a foe in seconds with a kiss. Her love bead necklace was a string of sub-nuclear munitions of high potency. Hosey was not as well armed as Hindenburg. She thought, as she slipped through the tube, our corporate media is in perpetual revolution for propaganda victory, undermining anyone else's revolutionary efforts against us. And these Mars rebels are tough to squash. They're bringing in decreased corporate profit sedulously to revolt too often. I can't send them all to Miami for re-education without losing revolutionary credibility in the colony. Hindenburg had Pakistani Venus care tank grown parents that were growling engineers. His typical lean body mass was reset to Mars high insulation normal with extra body fat and silly synth gel. The usual human unraveling syndrome was wilding his cellular and genetic integrity slowly. Hindenburg had lost an ear to chronic rot, and his nose was sporting a new toenail that needed clipping every few hours. He painted it orange when his face took that color on for a few hours each day. "What time is the table for tonight?" Hosey asked. 9, Hindi replied. They arrived at Topsky. A tube exit, 100 Met franchise observatory experienced a menagerie of celebrity and obscure. They landed feet first, exiting the tube onto a moving sidewalk and air shafted up to the 7th floor of the dome, on a cylinder-constructed atrium filled with a hologram of the images transmitted by the Deep Space Telescope fleet journeying beyond the Kuiper Belt. After a stroll through wash and air dry, recreation and another wash and air dry, they received spray-on Vitaclothes and went out to the ski slopes they loved. Superconductor batteries stored power enough for air layer levitation and prone body skiing for those disdaining artificial slope friction reduction and the guidance appendages. H&H thought of themselves as rugged individualists and naturally tackled the extreme Alex Borscht colossal downhill before dinner and the meeting with their minion Mugshush. Together they would drag the circuit of 5 into a pincers to squash resistance. No Whale is an Island, Chapter 21, Shan Bay. Suzi Shan traced a Martian rebel circuit to an active corporate lead. The sleazy double-dealing independent system brokerage of Chickfield, Bernard, and Richfield at Highland Street. The circuit's loop included prominent Martians and a host of middle-class entrepreneurs volunteered as party regulars' auxiliary organs. From thousands of probability leads from computer investigation with Maple Leaf operating system, produced the most active website at Chickfield. Suzi was burned before, but the membership in the brokerage of known subversive Thomas Dark Organ Frost was confirmation enough to her that she'd found a trace to the core of rebel leadership. Suzi sat in close comfort of plush upholstery in an Ayatollah of Orange rental Course hoverjet. Course, the leading importer of generic hoverjets for the power circuits of on-ego throughways. The taxi parts across from Dark Oregon's likely portal of egress. Black fiber optic eyes in the driver-for-hire's face showing deep yellow glint of activity. Suzi watched him follow a continuum of transaction postings issued by the Mars Colony Exchange. It flowed seemingly forever with commercials as holographic hypertext across the top of the quasi-crystal speed shield. She prepaid the man a minium service charge. He was slothfully nibbling another Ambrosia Euphoria chew bar. Suzi looked through the image-dissimulating one-way taxi windows to get a true view of the street and Chickfield's prime portal for the emergence of the Dark Oregon to Highland. She did not have long to wait. The 300-pound Dark Oregon, with comm visor down over beady, narrow-set blue eyes behind him, which was a mindset of corruption cast in feral concrete, black beard spilling outside, enviro-protected breath mask and a parasite attrition belt to remove designer worms and growths burrowing through his abdomen, rumbling onto the street flatulently. Genome and cell unraveling syndromes were sometimes fought with programmatic preemptory-induced cell mutation. The Dark Oregon wore a brain bowler, a packet atop his fat, sweaty head. He wallowed with arrogantly self-confidence in a cheap off-the-rack black quasi-stealth suit bulging with concealed devices. Suzi said to the Ayatollah of Orange driver, "Follow my query." The fat man in black across the street, the one painted with neutron light by an invisible stealth floater hovering above his head. "Switch your comm visor to code 4003. You cannot possibly lose him unless he has a stealth jag floater to kill my floater, or you've eaten too many Ambrosia Euphorics. If that happens, good citizen, you will receive a free corporate vacation to Pluto Ice Base instead of a weekend at Topsky and $5,000 bonus." The Dark Oregon turned right at the corner onto the Golden Congress Avenue, 3 blocks from the Heraclitus County Courthouse, where the trial of the De Novo 7 was being held, and uncharacteristically walked a half mile to the quintessential shining diamond-crusted big power of dome on a titanium and emerald cylinder at the beginning end of the street at the summit of the hill. The columned portico was a magnificently etched entablature, edifice, and frieze that had feminine, partly unraveled caryatids to shoulder the burden of the Martian capital of grace and marble happiness to comprise the primary mass space-time firm ossification of Martian government. Suzi Shan looked at some of the unraveling people on the street of Novo Lundinium as the Ayatollah of Orange taxi hovered off a line of part hovjets. She watched the sores on the back of the driver's neck begin doing ooze. The Dark Oregon hailed a clever cab from the Belarus Mars Ventures Company of corporate vassals and lined in front of the Capitol and accelerated away toward Camel Expressway. Suzi pursued and popped a purple fizzy vitamin in her mouth. Suzi's Ayatollah of Orange driver followed a discreet distance until it became clear where the Dark Oregon's destination was. She instructed the driver to slow to 1,000 miles an hour and pull into the Chops Cafe parking lot as they reached the entrance to the Valley of Human Rulers.